I've had a meeting with Shaykh Asrar that many people have seen. Now, I need to give the kind of backdrop to all of this, because I think people don't really know, or many people do, some people may not. Right, so what's happened is, since last year, I was asked about Jesus and the second coming of Jesus. So I mentioned that, look, this is an issue that many Muslims do believe this, but upon closer inspection, I said certain scholars, especially of the 19th century, 20th century, have revisited this topic and found this to not really be as established as people had claimed it to be. Right, so now so in this, I mentioned some of these ulama. I mentioned names like Shaykh Muhammad Abdu and Rashid Rida, and these are the great Mashaykh of al-Azhar. And I mentioned things like Mustafa al-Maraghi, who was the Shaykh of al-Azhar. I mentioned Shaykh Mahmoud Shaltut, who was the Shaykh of al-Azhar. I remember mentioning Shaykh Abu Zahra, who's from the Mashaykh of al-Azhar, kind of Shaykh Muhammad al-Ghazali, other people, even Ibn Ashur, who speaks on this topic, saying, look, this is just Islamic information, this is not really creed. And he was the Shaykh al-Islam of the last century and the Grand Mufti of the Malikiya. And I mentioned that I'm inclined to this, and this is how I don't believe in a second coming of Jesus. Now, there was a post made in the following weeks by Shaykh Asrar, who he didn't mention my name, but he said that, look, a mufti from Birmingham has said blah 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 blah. And I know he's really picky about, I have to quote his exact words. Look, I ain't gonna quote your exact words, okay? I'm just gonna say how paraphrase it. This is life. It's not the word of God. I don't need to be, exactly right. So, but the point is, he made this thing saying that, look, I doubt, he's saying this on Facebook, he can do all of this in front of people because nobody can challenge him. Does he have the courage to kind of come and debate like me on it? In other words, and look, I accept a few words here or there, like that day in the debate, I was quoting this and he goes, no, I want you to quote me exactly. And I said, look, I don't know exactly, but you're in front of me. If I say something wrong, just correct me. He goes, no, I want you. So I said, look, you said, does he have the courage to come and debate me? And he said, no. I said, will he have the courage? So I really so I said, all right, Shay, I'm sorry, will he have the, saying the word of God, for God's sake, like if I get a word here, there, it's no, just roll with it, man. So look, so since December, I have been trying to make contact with Shaykh Asrar. And he knows this. I didn't have his personal number, but I messaged people he knew, maybe some family maybe some family members of his, maybe some other friend. I know his personal assistant, kind of his, who's very close to him, manages his stuff. I did have his number. I messaged him. Then it took me a few days, whatever, to kind of get in touch with people. I did. I said, look, this is going towards mid-late-ish December. I said, Sheikh, I've come across this post of yours, and I said, look, maybe you want to just sit with me, you and me, and, we can just talk this out. I said this seriously, and I've got this, and he knows this, and I said, look, how about it's just you and me, and we avoid all this drama, and we avoid all this entertainment, and how about that? And I actually said to him, look, Christmas holidays are coming up. Christmas holidays are coming up, right? I said, look, Christmas holidays are coming up, and Santa Claus ain't coming, but I said, look, Christmas holidays are going to come up soon, and I'm going away on a holiday with I said, I'm going to take my kids and my family, and I'm going to go on a holiday. Look, how about we meet up just in the next few days before this? Let's get this out the way. But okay, it took a while for him to then he messages me early January saying, look, I'm busy. I mean, this is through through someone. So there's an intermediary in the middle, his assistant. So he's saying, look, I'm busy and I'm doing this, but we'll set something up. And then I say, all right, fine. And then he says, look, I'm busy in January. We'll meet in February. And then he says, okay, look, I don't know if I want to really go ahead with this debate, as in, I'm not saying this to say he's backing off. I don't want you people, you know, his fans or his students to kind of go, oh my God, oh my God. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what I understood. He said, look, I don't know if this is really even an important topic. So why don't we look for something else and discuss something? So I said, look, but this is what you called me out on. Why don't we just discuss what you called me out on? And this is the backdrop I'm giving you. So it kind of goes back forth between us and him. And then he just says, look, I tell you what, you know, here's a date. We're just going to debate. And then I said, look, but don't you want to sit and chat? Don't you want to do something? You know, don't you want to make it clear that maybe you've even misunderstood me? And then he said, well, okay. And then he said, look, here's a date at this time. It's going to be in March now. And I said, look, I can't really make those. I can only make evenings. But I'm a vampire, people. I only make evenings. Everybody knows that about. And then he just said, look, okay. In this last week, he said, okay, this Saturday, we're going to meet at this time. At you know, fine. You know, we're going to meet. And so I said, all right, fine, alhamdulillah. To be fair, the beginning, the mindset I had was to kind of define that what are we going to talk about? What are your issues with what I believe? What is it that you actually believe about this? And then we can sit and have a further longer discussion maybe in the future, or a debate. What that turned out to be, you guys probably watched that. It was a disaster. Okay, it was a disaster of biblical proportions. It was an epic disaster, honestly. I'm kind of disappointed, and I think some goodness did come out of it. But what kind of followed, that was important. Look, I've given you the backdrop. We kind of sat down, Shaykh Asrar came, and you know, it seemed reasonably cool. It didn't seem like too tense. It didn't seem, you know, when he came and everything. And he didn't tell me any of, like, he wants to kind of pick a bone with me about something. He didn't tell me that. He didn't say to me, by the way, you know, before we begin, because in all honesty, he could have done that off air, off screen. But he didn't say any of that. He just came, he was normal, greeted, you know, sat down. I sat down, and then he just said, look, wait, I want this to go live. I did actually suggest, are you sure you want to do this live? Like, I said that before, look, because live is volatile. You know, we don't know what's going on. And I know that a lot of people on his thing just, I know they hate my guts anyway. I'd read some of the comments on his post before. They really hate me, man. Like, sometimes if I ever doubt my existence, you know, if you ever think, do I really exist? I just have to read some of the comments on, like, Shaykh Asrar's, his following posts. And I think, oh, yeah, I definitely exist. Because some people out there, boy, they hate me. You know, cogito ergo, you know, I think, therefore I am. They hate me, therefore I am. Okay, so coming to this point now, we begin this discussion, and I gotta say, look, honestly, Shaykh Asrar begins with, I didn't even get where, I had no idea where he was coming from. He begins with all this. I didn't like this whole approach of, I'm gonna, like, a very kind of like, I'm gonna intimidate you, I'm gonna kind of, and look, and I'm not saying, just in case his followers say, oh my God, are you trying to say he was just trying to intimidate you, you tried, look, I'm not saying he was trying, but this is how it comes off. Yeah, I'm just being honest. You could watch the clip. Look, let's just pause this for a moment. Let's pause all of this for a moment. Pause, pause, pause. Look, people, beliefs are something we have in here. Right. Beliefs are something we have in here. Right. Now, you could say to me, look, Mufti, I believe that there's this something's going to happen. I believe in aliens. You could say, I believe that there's a glow-in-the-dark unicorn that exists out there, and it lives on the planet Saturn. You could believe, I believe in ghosts. I believe in exorcisms. You could say I believe, although that's not a part of faith like that, but I believe in Jesus Christ is going to save the world. He's going to come back. There's a second coming of Jesus. He's going to save the world. Okay, fine. You have a belief. But when you present a belief to somebody, the whole purpose of this is the people should have a right to question and ask. Like, okay, would you like me to believe that? So what is this belief about? You know, like, tell me about this. Like, what is this about? Like, what's going to happen? Why do you think that? Does this make sense? This is how, look, this is how the Prophet of God called people to Allah. He called them to one God. They questioned him. You have a right to question. You want me to believe in one God. But, you know, all our parents have been doing this, but all this, can we all be wrong? And the Prophet reasoned with them. He said, yeah, they asked, okay, so tell us more about this God. How does it just work as one God then? And the Prophet's telling them, look, it's like this, it doesn't make sense. And he tells them, this is what, you should be allowed to test the evidence. You should be allowed to test things. That's what belief is. So, okay, now let's go back to the thing. So, Shaykh Asrar begins. And I want to, what is it exactly you believe about this Jesus coming back and saving the world? About this belief of Jesus. What is it? Like, talk to me. But he begins with this whole thing. Okay, let's start. First of all, I do not like the way that kind of, oh, what village are you from in Pakistan? What kind of this? What kind of that? You're from this village. I'm not from that village, but it doesn't bother. Look, I don't know. I don't know where we're going with all this. It just, all of this is just confusing the hell out of me. Like, I'm thinking, okay, fine, right, okay, whatever. Can we get to the point? Right, so... right, okay, we are here. Before we begin, I need you to apologize. That was another thing, just totally caught me off guard. Apologize for what? Oh, well, you cracked a joke about Santa Claus in speaking about Jesus. Like you said, Jesus isn't going to come back, but guess who is going to come? Santa Claus is coming to town. Ha 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 ha. I was like, honestly, I couldn't get over this part because I thought, I'm being honest, wallahi, I did not remember that joke. Even right now, I do not remember that joke. Although, if you ask me, do you think, I think, yeah, it's something I would probably say. I'm that kind of a person. I would probably crack a joke like that. So I can believe I have said it. I can check. It's not a problem. I haven't checked, but it doesn't bother me. Okay. So you find this joke offensive. Okay, and what? Like, if you find it offensive, what? I've got to change my whole personality. I can't crack jokes anymore. Well, you've never cracked a joke in your life that other people haven't found offensive. You know, this right to censor humor. Like, why? Nobody has a right on censor. Look, I'm sitting in my house. I'm paying the bill to kind of go live. I can say whatever on earth I want. You can disagree with me. You can not like it. You can say, look, I think he's making an idiot out of himself. Fine, it's your view. I believe that I respect you to have a view. You know, I think personally, other people are being idiots. I think being serious all the time is being stupid. That's my approach. I think you can never laugh enough in this world. That's my approach to life. That's my attitude. I get that you don't like that. I get you might think, oh, you're being a clown. But that's just me. Come on, look, let's face it. You know that about me. You know, I make a video every week. I'm laughing my head off on all of these clips. So look, don't think like, oh, all of a sudden, like, well, why, oh my God, why are you never serious? I mean, what are we even... So a good part of this next hour that went on this discussion was all about I ought to apologize, which I said, look, I'm not going to apologize for my personality. If you've got a problem with it, fine. I respect that you don't like that. I accept that. If you're asking me, do I accept that I may offend people? I said, look, I may offend people, but I've never insulted people per se. I've attacked a concept. I've not said... Shaykh so-and-so, blah, 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 or Fulan, or this person, or that person named Abdullah, or this person named Zayd, or that person named Amr is an idiot for believing. I've not said that. I've said I think this belief doesn't make sense to me. And then I've cracked jokes about Santa Claus, so what? Now, I don't believe that this is, I actually believe that this has crept into Islam from Christian theology. And we can come to that later on. But, so anyway, this whole hour kind of goes back, forth. I was getting frustrated, I'm going to be honest with you, because I thought, look, if you don't want to talk to me, why have you come? Yeah, why have you even agreed to come here? Because look, you challenge that, look, I doubt he'll be able to ever sit in front of me and have a discussion. Here and then I did think, at this stage, when I got a bit kind of fed up with this, I thought, you know what? Because Shaykh Asrar said, don't worry, we've got till Fajr in the morning. I thought, look, I don't want to be doing this till Fajr in the morning. And look, it's taken me 3 months to have a meeting with you. 3 months it's taken me. And I respect you're busy. I don't know. I value that you're of value to people. I get that. Look, so then I thought, okay, I've had enough. Let's just have a discussion right now. You and me, let's just talk. Let's have a discussion. What is it you believe? Talk to me. Let's discuss this. So we can get an idea. Let's just discuss this. What is it that you believe? And I'm sure, by all means, we can meet again as well. But let's have a discussion now. But one thing I realized is it is impossible. Honestly, I have to say, I have spoken with so many people in my life. I can tell you, I have debated, argued, had dialogues with so many people, Muslims and non-Muslims. I have had with all sects, within, whether it's Salafis, Sufis, Deobandis, Brelvis, Ikhwan, you name them. Hizb ut-Tahrir people, you name them, any kind of pure extremists. I mean, actual, like, people who want to just kill everybody. I've had conversations with people who believe we should just go out and kill non-Muslims. I've had conversations with, like dialogues, this kind of debates with people, atheists, with agnostics, with Hindus, with Christians, with... Wallahi, I have never had such a difficult dialogue ever. Never. This was the most difficult kind of dialogue. If I can't really, me calling it a dialogue is a metaphor. It was not a dialogue, but that was the most difficult ever. Wallahi, I have debated, and like as far back as I can remember, with people that that they debate all the time, that they argue all the time, and they disagree with me passionately, and but it's never. And yes, I did expect it to be a bit of this, I did expect it to get heated. I did expect that there will be, some ups and downs, but I thought maybe that might be about 30% of the time at most. But about 70% of the time we will talk. Look, and this is not to just drag people in, but just as an example, I spoke, I think a few weeks back, that I had a dialogue, stroke, if you want to call it a debate, but dialogue with Muhammad Hijab, who's always debating people, and we disagreed, you could say, passionately on things. And it got heated. It wasn't recorded, generally speaking. I don't think it was generally recorded. I don't know, maybe some snippets, but I don't think it was recorded overall. But it got heated at some points, but overall it was a dialogue. He spoke, I spoke, we spoke. Maybe sometimes you might raise a voice, but it came back. Most of it was very civil, most of it, and we cracked jokes, we hugged it out at the end, very, it was good. Yes, it got heated, but that's it at some points, but generally it was a dialogue. This was from the get-go, it was no. And this, I'm serious, I think, I could be wrong, I think that Shaykh Asrar, maybe somebody told him to do this, or maybe this is his own thinking. I think that he was told that, look, you can't let Mufti crack jokes, because if he cracks jokes, he might get the better of you through humour. So this is why he wanted me to stick to his condition that I can't crack jokes. which I didn't, because I said, look, I'm not going to, I am who I am. You know that about me before you've come here. You can't change my personality. The second point, I think he, and maybe somebody advised him to do this, or maybe this was, I don't know, he wanted me to apologize just so his followers and people could say, well, look, I got, that they corrected the deviation and the deviance of Mufti Abu Layth in public. That, in public we got him to apologize. Like, and wallahi, these tactics of doing things like this in the beginning are pure Indo-Pak baggage and Indo-Pak tactics. Wallahi, I'm not joking. And I know he got offended when I said that later on. I said, look, can you leave these Deobandi Brelvi tactics outside with somebody else? Don't bring them in here with me. And then he got really offended and said, look, I'm not a Brelvi. Why are you calling me a Brelvi? Okay, I respect that. I respect that point. That, look, if Shaykh Asrar is not a Brelvi, okay, fine. He's not a Brelvi. I'm not... And I don't mean to insult him with that. If he felt insulted, fine. But that's usually because he's part of the Brelvi crowd. But if he's not, that, fine. However, these tactics are 100% those Deobandi Brelvi tactics, like Indo-Pak tactics. Like, you just have to go on YouTube. There's hundreds of debates on YouTube in Urdu. Watch them. This is exactly what they do, step by step. Seriously, this is all they do. This is like so common. Like, we in the West have moved on. Professors can have a dialogue. You can sit and talk. And Shaykh Asrar himself said to me, look, by his own admission, he said, look, only atheists can have dialogues. Us as Muslims, we can't do that. It doesn't work. Like, that was off screen, he said that. And I have to say, look, I'm just being honest. Wallahi, Shaykh Asrar off screen is a very decent guy. He is very decent. I was shocked how the transformation was unbelievable, because when we stopped that transmission, he just became a totally different person. Like, just like, hey, all mellow, yeah, like talking, no raising voice. All right, oh, don't worry about it, Mufti. Some people might have hate, but it's all good. Oh, so tell me about this, talking about memories. I remember when I met you in Damascus in the early 2000s, you were talking to me about Fathul Bari, a commentary on Bukhari, and and all these and he was talking about personal experiences. I was talking a bit about my personal experiences, and I was like, wow. Wallahi, I actually said to his friends and assistants, can you please put this live? Because this is the side that people need to see. But they wouldn't put that live. When they put it live at the end, it was just to make the announcement, and then they switched it off. Although it was recorded, they did record all of this, and as did we. But the thing is that, look, I don't know whether it's the camera observer effect. I don't know whether it's the pressure from his following. I don't know whether it's... But on screen, Shaykh Asrar is just something else. Honestly, it is impossible to have a dialogue with him. By his own admission that we can't do this. We Muslims, this is only atheists are capable of having dialogue. I disagree. I think Muslims can. We can have dialogues. And I think we need to raise our standards. Right? So, look. So this is the whole kind of thing. And I want to mention that, look, yes, people have said that, look, but Mufti, you too started to raise your voice. And you started to kind of, like into the second hour. And I want to concede and admit to that, look, I think... Yes, I did. Okay, yes, I did. I watched back, not the whole thing, but I watched back quite a bit of our discussion. And I was very disappointed. I was, once I watched it back as well, I was once again more disappointed in Shaykh Asrar's approach. But I was also in the second, as I do reciprocate, especially after like 1 hour into it. And it's only human. Look, you've got to understand that, look, I did get frustrated because, look, I'm seeing that, look, you're here, let's just talk about this, because this is how it ought to have been. It ought to have been like, look, like if I say to you, guys, I need you to believe in reason, that the religion is based on reason. By the way, as just a plug-in, I've done a whole talk on reason, which I'm waiting for, inshallah, in the coming week or two, which hopefully will be edited and we can release that, and that's going to answer a lot of questions. But let's say I say to you guys, I need you to believe that religion is based on reason. So you should be able to ask me, really, Mufti, so but doesn't it then go with this? And then I'll say, oh, but you can ask me, but when you say reason, do you mean everything? Do you mean this? And I'll say, yeah, but this is what. And what do you mean? Mufti, when you're saying reason, does that allow us to question this then? Does that? See, you should be able to question me. And I should be able to kind of say, well, give you the answers of what I believe, because I want you to believe this. And then you can critique me. You can say, yeah, but Mufti, what about these kind of miracles? And then I would say, well, look, I believe even miracles have an explanation in this dunya, even if people haven't understood them. And so and we can kind of have this discussion. But, whoa, that whole thing just went from, and it obviously frustrated me, and then I obviously started to raise my voice as well. I accept that, and by doing so, I admit, by my own standards as well, I think I kind of may have fallen short. But it's a human reaction, okay? So I do accept that in the second hour of that, it's a 2-hour thing, in the second hour I also start doing things like that. But it was only because I was getting incredibly frustrated that, look, it's taken us 3 months to sit down. Just talk to me. Talk with me. Like, tell me what you believe. Allow me to question it. Like, don't just try to, like he said, okay, we're going to talk, but we have to have, first of all, the rules of engagement. We need the rules of munadhara as laid out in a certain book. We need this. Do you know this terminology? Do you know debate falls under discourse? Discourse has certain parameters to it. There is then linguistic discourse, which has these categories. Look, impress me with your knowledge of terminologies on another day. Right? Look, what is this all supposed to mean? Like, look, what all these by the way, these definitions are just a part of Aristotelian logic, which I've got nothing against. I've got nothing against Aristotelian logic, but it's not like you hardly quote, like, oh, I know that there's categories to discourse, and discourse may be subdivided into further categories, and this discourse is now called a debate, and a debate has several elements, and yes, this. Look, what are you talking about? Look, it's not that I don't know these things, but let's just have a conversation like a human being. You're going to say, yeah, but I don't know what you abide by. Yeah, but look, when I say something that you disagree with, you can say, like Shaykh Asrar said to me in that conversation or that debate, oh, I believe everything in Bukhari to be valid. That's what I believe. So I said, okay, well, there's clearly invalid things in Bukhari. But okay, so now you've realized in the discussion we disagree on things. Fine, we'll move on. This isn't rocket science. I don't need a book to tell me how to have a conversation with somebody. I can have a conversation with you. Just talk to me. When we disagree, we'll move over it. We'll move along. You'll just say, okay, fine, but you don't accept this point, so we have a disagreement. Oh, so how do you prove the caliphate of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu? Or how do you prove the caliphate of Abu Bakr? What are we even talking about? Oh, I know, because I know what and people are saying, well, why don't you engage him? Because look, I know what you're trying to do. I'm not, give me, give me some credit, yar. I'm not totally thick. It's not like, I know these debate tactics that you're resorting to. You just want to say, oh, you just want to put me down because you want to say that, oh, I problematize the concept of ijma, which I do problematize. I've said that so many times. It's nothing new. I said to you, you said, okay, what can we go by? What can we go by? I said, Allah and His Messenger. Allah and His Messenger. Like, why is that so difficult to understand? Look, you accept Allah, you accept His Messenger, I accept Allah, I accept His Messenger, because this is belief, we accept reason. There you go. Don't worry about the other things. Prove it to me. You said to me, this is in the Quran, this is established. You made the claim. This is an established belief. Quickly read to me the verses of the Quran. And we should just, even in 5 minutes, I should just be like, whoa, like dumbfounded. But this isn't happening. Oh, mutawatir al-ma'nawi. Do you know the concept of tawatur al-ma'nawi is like this? And trying to show that, look, first of all, you yourself know these things are not agreed upon. Like, why are you using things? Because Shaykh Asrar made out, and he said that, oh, what I'm trying to do is show consistency. Because Mufti Abu Layth, he said in the discussion, Mufti Abu Layth has flawed principles. He doesn't stick to his things and he has inconsistencies. First of all, I thought, look, that's just a dig. That's just wrong, right? But okay, fair enough. I'm just going to roll with this. I'm going to go with this. Okay, let's just talk. Because look, you're trying to say, I have set rules and I stick by them. You yourself know that isn't true. You know that not to be true. To say, look, I believe something is mutawatir bil ma'na, all these scholars have said this, these scholars have all accepted this, quoting, you know, like these scholars, and as though there's some kind of authority. You don't stick to them yourself. Look, first of all, this very concept of something being mutawatir, great muhaddithin like Ibn Hibban, you know, who has the great, he's one of the early compilers of hadith. He himself rejected that hadith reached that level of tawatur. He said everything is khabru ahad. I'm sure Shaykh Asrar already knew that. I don't need to be bringing these things up. Him saying, oh, so there's ijma' on this, that Isa is coming. There is a consensus. Now we need to debate consensus. Why is there a consensus? What, because one person said there's a consensus? Look, let me explain something. Let's take a topic like the parents of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? All these scholars he's quoting, they claim that the same thing, what they claim about Jesus, they claim about the parents of the Prophet being in the hellfire. Which, by the way, I don't accept. Neither does Shaykh Asrar, neither do the Brilvis accept that. So, look, Mullah Ali al-Qari writes a book saying there's ijma' on this. Right, he says that all the Salaf and the Khalaf and the great Kibar and the A'immah of this Ummah have accepted that the parents of the Prophet are in hellfire. The Hadith is in Sahih Muslim. Imam Muslim brings the Hadith to establish that. Imam Nawawi sets the title as this is the chapter to show that those people will not be benefited by the intercession of the Prophet if they died upon kufr, and he brings in it the hadith that the parents of the Prophet are in hellfire. Bayhaqi writes his book in Dalail al-Nabuwah saying, Qadi Iyad, who they keep quoting, says this is a known, sound, clearly established, a riwayah, that the parents of the Prophet are in the hellfire. And look, the same thing, all these kind of same people, these same names, Imam Nawawi, all these people say this, right? Yes, later scholars challenge it. Imam Suyuti challenges it, and the Brilvis don't accept it. I don't accept it. I think it's an absurd statement, right? I don't accept it. But the same thing, look, Shaykh Asrar doesn't accept it. He knows this. It's not like this isn't new. This isn't like, this is my point. Look, you too know that Imam Qarafi, what does Imam Qarafi say? There's ijma' in this, that the parents of the Prophet are in hellfire. He writes this in his commentary on the Tanqiyah. Look, so what if he said it? Him saying it doesn't make it happen. You yourself know this. So look, at the end of the day, we're all just picking and choosing what makes sense to us. Like, you know that, I know that. You know, so why are you acting like, no, anytime the scholars have said this ijma', we must accept it? That's not true. Ibn Abdul Bar, all the, even Qadi Iyad, other ulama said that this Isa coming back is from Khabru Ahad. It is not mutawatir. It is not clearly established. I mean, they've said the hadith are sahih, but they've said it's not mutawatir. Now, my point is that, look, by using this kind of sophistry, this kind of these terminologies, you're taking us away from the discussion. Why don't you just talk to me about what you believe? Let me question you. Let's see, does it make sense? And then we can take this further. So I thought, look, that is an important thing to kind of mention. What really did get me, and I hope, by the way, Shaykh Asrar does watch this as well, is that, look, once, as I went through it, when I finished, I kind of obviously read the comments. I went through a lot of messages that I got. People's news feed was hilarious. And it was shocking as well. I got a lot of hate, obviously, from his followers. A lot. But it was interesting to see even his followers thought that he had behaved inappropriately, like they thought he shouldn't have done this. And look, this is my advice. Check this out. At the end of the debate or discussion, I actually said to Shaykh Asrar, I think that's really messed up and was a disaster. I don't think you should put that on the internet. Even his own friends that were with him said, we don't think you should put this on the internet. He said, no, leave it. Okay, fine. I mean, it's your thing. It doesn't bother me, whatever you do with it. Now, I've read comments, and honestly, I've read some of the messages and all the hate. Okay, put that aside for a moment. What bothered me, honestly, is I came across some kind of message that that kind of told me that, look, the message kind of said to me that I watched this, and this was somebody who was kind of like struggling with faith. Yeah. And they said that, look, this kind of showed them that religion maybe doesn't have that scholarship. It felt to this person that scholarship had failed. That Muslim scholarship today wasn't up to the challenge of maybe tackling modern, because we are in the modern world. And this person felt disheartened about, you know, obviously about Muslim scholars and things, but about Islam by extension. And that kind of hurt me. That, look, my whole mission, my whole thing is really, look, I'm not part of a sect. I'm not part of a Sufi tariqah. I'm not part of a group or an order, or people who who kind of like associate with me or like me or learn from me. This is just from their own goodwill. This is just from their reason they come to. I don't have a following or like that. I mean, you could say maybe a following, but I don't have a kind of sect. But what my mission is, my message is not to hardcore Brelvis or Deobandis, hardcore kind of, this kind of minority, sheer minority of religious, hardcore practicing Muslims. My message is actually to the majority, maybe over 90% of Muslims who are not practicing. And then maybe a strong percentage of them who are unfortunately disenfranchised with the deen. That people who today feel that the deen is nothing but just mythology and fantasy, and they feel that this is just like culture. It's okay, but we don't really, it can't stand up to the West. It can't stand up to modernity. It can't stand up to true criticism. These people are who I talk for. You know, that is my, people who struggle with faith. That is who I'm reaching out to. Now, for somebody like that to give me a message and tell me they're struggling now, that hurts me. So look, I realized that, look, so this was a disaster as far as I'm concerned. Okay, this was an absolute disaster, because unlike, I know Shaykh Asrar's words that we as Muslims can't do dialogues, I disagree, and I will. You see, this is, bi-idhnillah, if Allah gives me strength, I will demonstrate throughout my life, whatever I have capacity, that Islam does stand the test of reason. That Allah and His Messenger are not unreasonable. You can bring me I believe that Islam will not only stand, but it will embrace the message of science and reason. That the greatest challenges that are put to Islam, I do not want to walk away from them in just saying, well, we believe this. I want to stand the test and prove that Islam can answer them. That it can. That these people who are disenfranchised with Islam, who have kind of drifted away, I want to extend that rope to them. And with the words of Allah, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ, that hold on to that rope and to kind of reel that back in for them. That look, Islam doesn't have to be a fantasy religion. It makes sense. Allah is not some sadistic, some kind of the God of the Old Testament. He is a God that has encouraged us about reason. This is what my message is about. And this is one of the reasons why I kind of struggled with this coming of Jesus. Because it didn't make sense. And I'm prepared to talk about this. I'm prepared to present why it doesn't do that. I'm prepared to do these kind of things. But not at this cost. Not at the cost of people once again becoming disenfranchised and losing kind of just losing heart in Islam. Not at that cost. So look, this is my message to Shaykh Asrar and his people, that look, you put across a challenge for a debate, and yes, I contacted you the same month last year in December, and yes, it's taken us months, but what I thought this was going to be, wallahi, I thought by debate, my understanding of a debate is we're going to have a dialogue. Okay, we're going to talk. Now, what we've agreed on in the end, the understanding we've come to is, okay, Shaykh Asrar has come to an understanding that, okay, the only things I'm prepared to accept are Quran, Sunnah and reason. He's accepted that at the end, alhamdulillah. But then he made, like, his belief is that, look, we can never have a dialogue. He said that we can't talk with each other, but we can talk past each other. I'm paraphrasing, this ain't his words. But he said the way we can talk is I can talk for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, you can talk for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, I can talk for 3 minutes, you can talk for 3 minutes, I can talk for 3 minutes, you can talk. But we can't talk with each other. We can talk past each other, but not with each other. Not on screen, he said. Right, so look, he never said those words because I know he said he's pedantic about his words, so I don't want to kind of, show that, I don't want to be misrepresentative, but this is what he said. He said only atheists can do dialogues like that, but we can't do that. This is what we can do. And he said, I accept you're saying Quran, Sunnah and reason, I accept that. So look, having learnt this and realized the disaster that this became, rather than, and having learnt, one thing I learnt is that with Shaykh Asrar, maybe it's my presence. Some people, I've read some comments of some of his people hating on me, saying, you know, that Abu Layth, right, he's so animated, his personality is too animated and loud, you can never have a civil conversation with him. So okay, maybe it's my presence and I crack jokes, people say he keeps laughing and keeps doing things. So okay, maybe it's my presence, maybe it's the camera observer effect, because Shaykh Asrar, as soon as that live went off, he became a totally different person. Wallahi, I swear, he within 0 to 60 in 2 seconds flat, he did that. I found it, whoa, like it. Wallahi, everybody was, and he was a very decent guy. I would say he was the kind of guy that, I would say that I would like to, that personality I would like to definitely meet and have conversations with. He definitely doesn't enjoy my humor as much, so maybe not, we're not maybe like on that chill level. Maybe his other friend or his brother definitely has a great sense of humor. But him, okay, I'd love to have conversations with him. I'd love to kind of catch up, have food and tea and like that. However, I've realized on screen, the screen is toxic, and especially me. So that combination. And then the fact that we can't talk, we can only do 3 minutes, and this is very unnatural. This is not a natural dialogue, it breaks the flow. So look, better than this, better than all of this, what I'm going to say to Shaykh Asrar is that, look, if you can please, rather than speaking for 3 minutes only, speak to your heart's content. I mean, with restrictions, I'm going to come to obviously not till like Fajr, with to your heart's content, in your own comfort zone, so you can sit at home or wherever you like. I won't even be there, because obviously maybe I'm agitating you, maybe the live feed is agitating you. So I tell you what, you record your best arguments, present, because you've made the claim that, look, Jesus is going to come back and this is a clear belief, and you now know as well, my angles. Like you said, well, I just didn't understand your angle, but now I do. It's Quran, Sunnah and reason. So you now know this. So bring to me the best and the most solid of evidences to believe in why Jesus, we should believe that Jesus is coming back through the Quran, through the Sunnah, through reason. Make a video comfortably, uninterrupted, no 3 minutes, I'm not going to say you should break your flow. Be in your best element. Be in your best element. Don't be on edge. Be the best you can possibly be. Do it comfortably from home. Please cover any Q&A that you think I may have or other people may have. Anything between 1 to 2 hours, the whole thing. Please don't exceed 2 hours because it's going to become very lengthy. So if you can cover any counter questions, make this video and put it up for us on YouTube. Okay. I will, inshallah, wholeheartedly, thoroughly respond to that. Okay. With why, if it does make sense, then alhamdulillah, I will embrace what makes sense of it, and what doesn't, I will then respond to that. Because since you made the claim, you are the claimant saying this is what we believe, right? And I believe that this is soundly established. So there you go. Make a video. We obviously tried a dialogue. By your own admission, we can never have a dialogue on screen or being recorded. We can only talk past each other. So you know, we can few minutes, and that's uninterrupted. I mean, that's interrupted. It's not natural. You're not going to be in your element. You know, you're going to put each other off, and then we're going to end up doing this. You know, you're going to end up trying to take digs. You know, I'm a human being. I'm going to reciprocate, man. Like, it's not, and it's going to bring out a character in me which I don't like as well. So it's not good. I'm going to fall by my own standards. You're going to fall by your standards. You know, we should hold ourselves to high standards. So look, you make a video, put it out there. I would hope you can do this, inshallah, within maybe 2 to 3 weeks if you can. That should be plenty of time. You know, just make a video, 1 hour long, 2 hours tops, you know, in the best presentation on why Jesus, we should believe that Jesus is going to come back from the Quran, Sunnah and reason. If you want, towards the end of it, you can cover any counter questions. You could say, well, I think people might question this based on A, B, C, D, E, and here's my killer responses. Once you've done that, upload it. Inshallah, inshallah, then comfortably in my comfort zone, right? With respect. And by the way, look, people might say I take digs and this and that, you know, and whatever, but I did show, and I do try to show, especially wallahi in person. If somebody meets me in person as a guest, I may crack jokes, I will do these things because that's my personality, but I will always try to respect them. Wallahi. And I always have this thing, no matter how heated something gets, at the end, we should kind of be able to laugh it off. We should be able to kind of hug it out. You know, I firmly believe that. You know, people always, let's have a man hug. You know, let's hug this out kind of thing. So with respect, and you know, I'm going to be, although, you know, so, and I think it could be that you maybe, Shaykh Asrar took certain digs at me, did certain things, you know, like those du'as. People say, why do you laugh in the du'as? Like, obviously saying, you know, Allah, guide this person to the truth, let him guide. Look, I'm going to laugh along with it because I'm like that. I can take that. But, you know, these kind of things are uncalled for, they're unnecessary, unwarranted, you know, these kind of things. But khair, it was a disaster of an event. I admit that. I think by my own standards, I too at some points reciprocated, and hence I fell short in my own thing, and that's an observation that I've learnt. And I think, like, you know what, this ain't my style, man. Like, yes, I joke, I crack things, crack laughs, and, you know, I do this kind of stuff, but I wanted there to be something more there. So inshallah, if you can make that video, I will respond to it with a video as well. Okay, and people can watch this and they can benefit. Hopefully, if you can do that within 2 weeks, I would be much obliged. You know, and I will try to respond soon after as well. I do have some preoccupation at the end of the month, but I mean, inshallah, that's my thing to you. Okay, so inshallah, mwah. Love you, Sheikh.